This is London Real. I am Brian Rose. My guest today is Connor Beaton, the entrepreneur, best-selling author, and keynote speaker. You are the founder of ManTalks, an international organization focusing on improving the lives and relationships of men, with the goal of helping to better understand the challenges men face in today's world. Your work has been featured on platforms like Forbes, CBS, and TEDx, and you are the author of Men's Work, a practical guide for men seeking to confront their inner darkness, overcome self-sabotage, and gain a sense of freedom and purpose. You have developed an innovative approach to healing the quote-unquote shadow, a concept that addresses the hidden parts of ourselves that contribute to our struggles. You have said there is an epidemic of man-shaming within society, as well as a lack of authentic support, leading many men to feel isolated, purposeless, and disconnected. You ultimately believe that too many men have traded their sovereignty and masculinity for comforts and validation. Connor, welcome to London Real.
Thank you very much for having me, Brian. I appreciate it and feels good to be here. Great
to have you. In preparing for this, I really thought deeply about who taught me to be a man. I think I'm pretty well versed in the subject, but of course I'm 53. So I've been around the block, and I grew up at a different time where you used to think your grandpa's generation was when men were men, but I guess I got a different experience than, say, if you're in your 20s growing up today, because I guess I was a little more older school than that, even though I don't feel old school per se. And I also have sons that are 7 and 8 years old, and so I think regularly about how I want to raise them, which is often in conflict with their mother. And so I've thought a lot about this, and I don't know, part of me wants to just hit you with a few highlights that came out, and then I'd love to also dive into a lot of the things that you talk about. How does that sound?
That sounds great.
So just real quick, I don't know why, I just feel like I got to blast through some of the points in my head, but I was, grew up in the 70s in California. My parents divorced when I was 7, and then I was with my mom, and I think that event had a big effect on me, and I saw my dad every now and then, but I wasn't really around a lot of men. And besides, I guess, movies and TV back then, there wasn't, Jocko Willinks and Jordan Petersons on YouTube, that just didn't exist. And weirdly enough, my mom actually got a couple college students from the local UCSD to actually live with us when they were kids. And man, I stuck to them like glue. I used to get all in their rooms when they were trying to do homework, and I was around them all the time. And I must say, they kind of taught me a lot of things about how to be a man when I was in my teenage years, weirdly. And I kind of had this flashback today. Then I got into MIT, I went to Boston, and I joined a fraternity house. And we moved right into the fraternity as a freshman. So I was 18 years old, living in a group with 50 men, average age 20, max age 22, Connor. It was a bit like Lord of the Flies, And I'm telling you, Connor, that's when I really learned a lot of the ways of being a man. I still remember this time where there was a fraternity party and I got drunk and did something kind of stupid. And a senior the next day, 4 years older than me, pulled me aside and said, "I want to talk to you, Brian." And he laid it out for me. And I was like, oh, wow, this is how men behave. They pull you aside and they tell you what you did to screw up, told you how they weren't happy about it, and they adjusted your behavior. And at the same time, I was a pledge. So they used to make us do push-ups and haze us, which a lot of people say is bad, but it's actually part of becoming a man somehow. And I think if most men are honest, we haze anybody new to a group to see if they're worthy of our group. So anyways, From there I went to Wall Street, and I know you lived in Manhattan for a while. I moved there in 93, and I went to a trading floor on Wall Street, which was one of the most brutal, nastiest environments I had ever been on. I mean, it was 12 hours a day, physical, mental, emotional intimidation and abuse, because everybody was fighting for that year-end bonus. And if they could intimidate someone or make someone look stupid, they would get paid more. So it was this crazy environment with like brokers and traders and everybody. The language was foul. You were just trying to one-up each other. So I got a dose of it there, came to London, got a similar thing in the city. And then, Connor, that all ended when I started this show 13 years ago, and I started to look at life a little bit differently. Joe Rogan had me on his show, and I saw that Joe invited me on, even though I looked like competition. He invited me on because he wanted to promote me. And I was like, wait a second, maybe this whole, you win, I lose, I win, you lose was the wrong way of looking at life. So I started thinking more collaboratively. And then I had people like Jocko on the show and Dan Pena and all these people. And if I'm honest, Connor, and I look at London Real, it's my search for an alpha male figure. And it's not that my dad wasn't that figure, but I think as men, we're always looking for those figures. But if you look at the guests on my show, it's a lot of alphas. And maybe that's me looking to find, in search of more, I don't know, leadership, knowledge, etc.
How do you get out of a rat race? How do you create wealth not only for yourself, but also for the generations to come after?
I am absolutely amazed with the quality of companies that we're getting exposure to.
We go on to Zoom calls with the innovators and the folks who are building new applications in metaverse, blockchain, artificial intelligence, decentralized finance.
What's going on, everybody? Thumbs up if you can see me.
We are focusing on early stage investment.
And the quality of people that we're getting exposure to, whether it be Dan Tapiero with 1RT, Jason Ma from Open, Yatsu from Animoca.
It's been a phenomenal experience thus far. It has far exceeded my expectations.
We are focusing on cutting edge technologies.
I view it now as the best investment I've ever made. The upside I view is unlimited.
And as a retail investor, I would never get this exposure anywhere else outside of Investment Club.
See you in the Investment Club.